Well, howdy, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. I am Cy Strikling, and we are here, and we're live, I believe. Hopefully you guys can all see and hear me. And today on my channel, I have with us Schrodinger's cat. Hello, Schrodinger. How are you doing?
I am excellent. How are you? Happy to be here.
I'm doing awesome, thanks. And yeah, it's definitely exciting to have you here with me. I haven't done an interview on my channel in a while, so I'm glad to have you back, have you here and be doing these interviews again. I've got a couple coming up in the next couple of weeks, so that'll be fun. I've got some different YouTube people coming up, so we'll definitely look forward to that. But we do have Schrodinger's cat with us for today, and we're going to do his interview here. So, I did just want to talk to you a little bit about your YouTube channel. Obviously you do some awesome videos and live streams on YouTube. And when did that start? When did you first start making content on YouTube?
So it's probably not an unusual story, but I started out, as a fan watching, other people's channels. And then I started getting into the chat, talking back and forth with people, learned a few names, a few people learned my names. And then I started joining into a few live streams, and some people talked me into starting a channel and starting a little content. And back then my focus was flat earth and, telling all the flat earthers how dumb they are and why. And so I started doing that with, a little success. Had a few debates. And then I think it was probably, yeah, I had some debates on the non sequitur show and things like that. Got a little bit of, my name out there. And so finally I ended up having a debate on MC Tunes channel with Marilyn Spirit Level.
Mm-hmm.
And it went exactly like every other flat earth debate that I've ever had. And she brought nothing to the table. She had no arguments. I had done 2 weeks of research, built up all this evidence, and came totally prepared, and she showed up with nothing. And so I basically, at the end of that debate, and it's still on my channel, you can go see it, I basically rage quit from flat earth, and I said, I'm sick of you people, just not doing anything. I do all this preparation for debate, y'all don't even prepare, you bring nothing to the table. I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start doing sovereign citizens and First Amendment auditors. And that's exactly what I did. Right after that, I switched. And as soon as I did my very first video about a sovereign citizen, I got like 200 subscribers in one day.
Wow.
I passed 1,000 subscribers the very next day with that video. I've been trying to get to 1,000 subscribers for like a year, and within 2 days of that, I passed 1,000 subscribers, and then it was just off to the races after that. So I've been a thorn in the side of sovereign citizens and First Amendment auditors ever since.
That's awesome. Well, it's definitely good to hear. And, I've, watched a bunch of your content, and your flat earth stuff was very good, but you're right. It's all the same stuff. They come with nothing, empty handed, and you do all this preparation for what?
Yeah, it's very frustrating because I really wanted to have like really substantive debates with them.
Mm-hmm.
And they just show up and like, you didn't even prepare. Like, you knew 2 weeks in advance that this
Right.
debate was going to happen, and you just show up with nothing. But to be fair, the First Amendment auditor debates that I've had a few. They show up equally as unprepared.
Right. So I'm curious, when you did the flat earth stuff, was there a flat earther that you like to debunk or debate the most?
Um, God, they were all equally bad.
Well, that's true.
I think maybe the Maryland Spirit Level, just because she would just go out. She had this shopping cart, and she had a billboard on each side of it, and she would just go to like festivals and things,
Mm-hmm.
and just push her shopping cart through like farmers markets or county fairs and stuff, and just scream flat earth stuff. And I dubbed her the flat earth crazy cat lady,
Oh, wow.
because she remind me of the crazy cat lady off of Family Guy.
Mm-hmm.
that would just no, it was The Simpsons, the one that would just throw cats at people.
Yes.
So that's who she reminded me of, and I sort of hounded her until she agreed to a debate. And actually, now she's a sovereign citizen. She
Huh.
got arrested, and some of the sovereign citizen gurus got to her, and now she's a sovereign citizen, and she's making videos about that now.
Wow. I've noticed that a lot about a lot of flat earthers and soft sits alike. They all kind of go into all the other woo and stuff as well. You know, they get into,
Right.
soft sits are also sometimes flat earthers, or also sometimes, just all kind of conspiracy people.
Right. Yeah, I debated a First Amendment auditor. He calls himself Amazing Audits, and halfway through the debate, just out of the blue, we figure out he's a flat earther because he said something about something that made me think maybe he's a flat earther. And I'm like, hold on, are you a flat earther? And he was like, well, yeah. And which is funny because he ended up saying something about that peer review is a scam. And PhD Tony happened to be in the chat,
Oh, geez.
and who has had peer reviewed articles that he's written, and he took exception to that. And so I was like, oh, Tony, you want to come on and talk to this guy? And so Tony came on and screamed at him for about 30 minutes, which was funny.
Yeah. Well, we'll go into a little bit more flat Earth here first, and then we'll kind of dive into the Sovsit stuff. But when it came to flat Earth, what did you find was the hardest part of their rhetoric to debunk? Was there anything that was in particularly difficult to debunk, or was it all kind of just pretty much straightforward?
Yeah, I don't think there was anything hard to debunk. The only thing that was really frustrating is that some of them have gotten really good at just redirecting when you make an argument that they can't rebut. They've gotten really good rhetorically at just changing the subject to a semi-related topic and just steering you away from the point that you just made. And the way to defeat that is you just have to stay on task and be like, nope, we're not changing the subject. Answer this question. And then they'll try to redirect again, and you just have to keep steering them back.
Gotcha. Was there ever a time that you felt like you were maybe getting through to a flat earther?
I never did, but I know that Conspiracy Cats has converted some well, one flat earther in particular. He converted, and now they do a whole lot of collaboration together. Ranty Flat Earth is now called, oh, what's the name of his new channel?
Oh, I can't remember, but yeah, I know what you mean. But
Flirspective, I think, is the name of his new channel.
yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, and I get him in my chat a lot. I'm gonna see if I can get him on the stream sometime, because even when he was a flat earther, I've said on streams way back when he was a flat earther, I was like, but he seems like a decent guy. And it turns out he was, and he really was a truth seeker. And so there are those people, but I think most of them, as Bob the Science Guy says, there's two types of flat earthers. There's the true believers and the flat earthers that sell T-shirts to true believers. And then rarely you get somebody that's actually out there that wants to know what's true.
Yeah, absolutely. I've noticed that as well, that there definitely are some that believe it, and then some that, are just doing it for the attention and that sort of thing. And
Right.
you
Like
know,
Nathan Oakley, he
Yeah.
doesn't believe it,
no. Yeah, that can be difficult, definitely. But it seems like at least with Ranty, I did notice that he was able to be converted away from flat Earth, so that was awesome. And hopefully, the ones that do truly believe it, when they're presented with the evidence, hopefully they'll kind of see the truth, the
Right.
actual truth.
Yeah, most of the debates that I've ever had, and I do this with the First Amendment auditors that I debate too, is in my opening, typically I'll ask them, do you even care what's true? Because otherwise, why are we here?
Right.
And they never answer the question, but I think that a lot of them they don't really care what's true. And that's that's true of a lot of people that have dogmatic beliefs. Like they don't want to be, if I'm wrong about something, I want to know.
Right.
I want somebody to tell me, and so that I can fix myself and, end up a better person because of it. But they don't. They don't want to hear any dissent. They want their belief like it's, a little toy that they have. It's
Yeah.
special to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And then talking about SovSits, tell me a little bit about what it is that SovSits do and why it is you started covering them.
Okay. Sovereign citizens, they exist on a spectrum. You've got all the way on the mildest side, you've got, First Amendment auditors, which I consider sovereign citizens, whether or not they would agree to that. I can make a pretty good case that they are sovereign citizens. And then on the far other end, you have the ones that just say no law applies to me. Sort of like the one guy, Ernie something or another. I can't remember what his name was. The guy that wears the coonskin hat, and he's just no law applies to him, and
Right.
he just does what he wants, and the law be damned. So basically, in a nutshell, a sovereign citizen is someone who, to one degree or another, thinks that law doesn't apply to them, or they have these weird conspiracy theory beliefs that, like, like municipal statutes, like parking tickets and things like that, aren't real because statutes and codes aren't law. Even though any lawyer in the world, and I've interviewed them, we have a monthly show on my channel with 3 or 4 lawyers where they come on and we talk about this stuff. Statutes and codes are just another way of saying law.
Right.
But they don't believe that. So therefore, when they get pulled over, they'll ask the cop, like, what law did I break? And they're like, well, Ohio revised statute, blah, blah, blah. And they say, like, but that's statute. That's not a law. Well, they're synonyms. So, yeah, they're all conspiracy theorists. And like I said, they're on a spectrum. And I've seen some of them move. Like there's this one guy, James Freeman. He started out a First Amendment auditor, and he still is, but he has moved so far into the other end of the spectrum where now he's a sovereign citizen.
Interesting.
I think it happens just like Maryland Spirit Level. You get arrested, so you're kind of like, shit, I'm about to go to jail. And then some sovereign citizen guru sends you an email and be like, look, all you got to do is go to court and say these magic words and it all goes away. So then they're like, yay, I got to get out of jail free card. But really, that's all that does is get them deeper into legal troubles. Like, for instance, I had a video here a few weeks ago where a guy got pulled over. He was actually the passenger. The car got pulled over, but he was the passenger because he had thrown something out of the window. So simple citation,
Right.
littering, no big deal, maybe $50, like whatever.
Right.
He turned that into him getting dragged out of the car and going to jail
Wow.
because he just wouldn't. He was like, nope, not giving you my ID. And they're like, but you were littering. You're getting a littering ticket. We can't give you the ticket without showing us ID. He's like, nope, I'm not doing it. And he got drug out of the car and went to jail. Like,
Wow.
so these sovereign citizen ideas are very counterproductive. If you, a lot of sovereign citizens, they change their last name to Freeman. I'm like, how are you a Freeman when you spend most of your time in jail?
That's true.
Sorry for being so long-winded, but
No, you're fine. I enjoy, listening and learning about that sort of thing. I've, watched videos, of course, of different sovereign citizens and that type of thing, First Amendment auditors, and, it's always interesting to see other people's views on it as well.
right.
Now, as far as sovereign citizens, we get a lot of, videos where, they're not driving, they're traveling, that sort of
Yes.
thing. But what is like what would be a difference between a sovereign citizen and like a First Amendment auditor? What do First Amendment auditors tend to do?
Um, the way that I describe First Amendment auditors, and I've done this multiple times. Anybody that's in the chat, like Miss Mandy, I see her in there. She's heard me say this multiple times. Um, First Amendment auditors are unemployed people that harass employed people so that stupid people will send them money.
I like that
So
explanation.
yeah, what they tend to do is they'll go to. It used to be that they would go to like post offices or city municipal buildings and things like that, and they'll go in there and they'll just harass the people that work there, asking them for FOIA requests and public information requests and all that. When really they don't care about that. They're just trying to harass these people so they can make a video. When they inevitably get arrested or get citations or anything, they'll do a live stream and they'll beg for money and they'll say, I got all these lawyer fees, I got these fines I got to pay, I need bail money. And so all these people send them money thinking that they're out there, fighting for their rights.
Right.
And the funny thing about the bail money is that, say you get arrested and you got a $1,500 bail, and you get your subscribers to send you this $1,500 for your bail. When you go to court, you get that $1,500 back. So for them, it's profit.
Gotcha.
So they're running a scam on their subscribers, and they're counting on their subscribers being too stupid to be like, hold on, you got that bail money back. So
Right.
where's the, $200 that I sent you? And I've brought this up to them before, and they no answer because they know they're running their little scam.
Right.
And you've got the certain ones like Patrick Roth, whose channel name, well, it used to be News Now Patrick, but he basically got deplatformed, so he had to change it to something. I'm not sure what it's called now, but we always called him PayPal Patty. And he travels around the country doing these First Amendment audits. And he routinely does live streams where he's begging for money for hotel rooms and gas and food and all those things.
Wow.
Because these people just can't be bothered to get a job like the rest of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's one big scam. First Amendment auditing is a scam. They don't care about the actual free speech. And I can prove it because I've probably gotten 12 false copyright strikes from them on my channel.
Wow.
So how are you going to be a champion of free speech
Yeah.
and then do a false copyright claim on my channel when I criticize you?
Yeah, that's pretty counterproductive.
Right. Now, speaking of counterproductive, they're so counterproductive that a lot of municipalities are making new laws restricting the types of things they do as far as harassing municipal employees. And it's funny, they always like to seem to target women, especially like elderly women that work at City Hall. They love to go and harass the most vulnerable people
Wow.
that they can find. And that's a running theme. I mean, every now and then you'll see them harassing a man, but they seem to love to target women and elderly people.
That's a shame.
It is. It drives me absolutely insane.
Yeah.
But there's a little bit of a happy story because my video that comes out 2 hours from now is a First Amendment auditor who gets a really good country ass whooping.
Wow.
So,
Well, I'll
yeah.
definitely be looking forward to that. And
Yeah.
if
Like I
anybody,
say in the video, I don't think those guys should have put that ass whooping on him, but I'm not mad at them.
right. Well, if anybody here doesn't already subscribe to Schrodinger's cat, his link is in the description below. So make sure you do that as well, because we won't want to miss that premiere later on. It sounds pretty awesome.
It's a good video. I'm pretty proud of it.
That's awesome. Now, I've seen a couple of, these First Amendment auditors that look like they may be legit. Are there any out there, do you think, that actually do it for the right reasons?
Um, so there's a couple of channels out there. They're not exactly auditors, but they're sort of auditor adjacent. Like they do videos about First Amendment auditors, and they're sort of on the First Amendment auditor side of things.
Okay.
There's a channel called Lackluster. Um, there's another that I can't really put my finger on the name of the channel, but actually, Lackluster and I originally we were going to debate, and we looked at each other's channel. We were emailing back and forth about let's have a debate, and,
Mm-hmm.
all this stuff. We looked at each other's channel, and we just came to the conclusions like we don't really disagree. There's nothing to debate about here. It's just that I'm a little bit more on the other side of the fence than he is,
Gotcha.
because he'll call out, the terrible auditors, and I'll call out the terrible cops. Um, but we're just on slightly different side of the fence. So I like that guy's channel. I
Mm-hmm.
think he's doing good work, even though he doesn't really go out into the field and do audits. Sorry about
Right.
that.
That's okay.
Um, and then there is an auditor who I disagree with thoroughly. His channel name is Batusi,
Mm-hmm.
and he's got a pretty big channel. And like me, he's got people that help out with his channel. Um, and he's one of the people that did the copyright strike on me, but it wasn't actually him. It was one of the people that helps out with his channel.
Gotcha.
And so when he realized that somebody had struck my video that I did about him, he emailed me and said, "Sorry about that. I'm taking away the strike." And then he followed up with an email that said, "Can you confirm that the strike is gone?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's gone. I appreciate it." So at least I can say about that guy, I don't agree with what he does, and I even said this in a video, but I appreciate that he actually has the courage of his convictions, and he actually does care about free speech and the ability to criticize, other people, which is what auditors do, but then they don't want to be criticized. But at least I can say about that guy that he's a stand-up guy, and he did the right thing, and he actually cares about the truth. And I think a lot of these other guys don't. So that's two examples, and there's another
Mm-hmm.
one that I just can't think of his channel name.
Yeah, I definitely I feel like that sounds like a pretty good summation of the ones that are, a little bit
Right.
better than most of the ones that are just scamming people.
Right. But that's, three examples that I can
Mm-hmm.
think of out of hundreds
Yeah.
of these people. Most of them are just scammers
Right.
that can't be bothered to get jobs, like I said.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
everywhere you go, I don't know if it's this way in East Tennessee. I suspect it is. You can't swing a dead cat without hitting a help wanted sign right now.
Yes, absolutely.
You got no excuse for not having a job, dude.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it didn't take me too long to find something when I moved out here. There
Right.
was, plenty of opportunity. You just have to look for it.
Yeah. I guess waking up before 11 a.m. is too hard for these people.
That's true, unfortunately. But yeah, that's awesome. It sounds like you're doing a lot of good things with your channel. And, is there anything that you wish you could do on your channel that you don't, or any kind of content that you'd like to put out, but maybe, isn't quite right for your channel? Anything like that you enjoy doing?
So, what I'm looking at doing in the future is doing maybe a weekly, maybe a bi-weekly or something call-in show. So we just got to figure out the technology of how to get you know the logistics of doing a call-in show
Mm-hmm.
where subscribers can call in, talk to somebody, say, "Hey, here's my question," or whatever. And just like any other call-in show you've ever heard, you get somebody there in the back waiting room, and they talk to a screener and say, "Here's my question," and then you bring them on and talk to them, sort of like if you've ever seen Talk Heathen or the Atheist Experience or stuff like that. These call-in shows. That's something that I want to do in the near future. And I keep trying to get my wife to make dog videos because we got these two hilarious dogs, and she won't do it. But that wouldn't be on my channel. That would be a separate channel that we'd start
Right.
because they are hilarious dogs. So
Yeah. Well, that sounds like a lot of fun, and a call-in show would be fun, and something definitely that I'd be happy to see on your channel.
right,
You know, the dog videos tend to do really well on TikTok, so that's a thought.
right. I've got a couple of videos on my channel of my dogs, but they're from, way back when they were puppies, when they used to just fight each other all day.
So, mentioning that, you said you had two puppies. How old are they now?
They just turned 3. I call them puppies still because they're dachshunds, so they're not really big. So I started out calling them puppies when they were puppies, and I just still call them puppies.
Well, that's awesome. And do you have any other pets or animals?
We have a half Yorkie, half Shih Tzu.
Oh, okay.
She's about 7.
Oh, nice.
So she's a little bit older. Um, the dachshunds don't really care about her, and she doesn't care about them. So
I guess that's a good
every
thing.
every now and then they play, but she's a little bit older. She's not really interested in all the fighting that they do.
Yeah, absolutely. And just learning a little bit more about you personally. What kind of hobbies do you have outside of YouTube and stuff? Like, what do you like to do?
Um, so I have a lake house. My dad and I co-own some property that's about 2.5 hours from here, on a lake. So I like to go out there, ride my ATVs, shoot my guns, do some hunting. Um, I have an unknown number of guns. That's I've never been, bothered to count them. So I got a lot of guns. So yeah, ATVs, going out to the lake house, fishing and shooting guns and raising hell. Um, Sorry, there's a helicopter flying over the house right
Oh,
now.
that's okay. I
I,
didn't
I
even
live
notice.
I live near the largest naval base in the world, so it's not uncommon to have jets and helicopters and stuff flying over. Um, so yeah, that's basically a lot of my hobbies is hunting, fishing, riding my four wheelers, and shooting guns, and basically being a little bit of a redneck.
That's awesome. It sounds like a lot of fun. I enjoy just going out and hiking and that sort of thing. So, that definitely sounds like some enjoyable pastimes.
Yeah.
Awesome. And, I know that you were in the Navy as well. When did you join in the Navy?
I joined on March 27th of 1995, and I retired a little over 22 years later.
Wow.
I started out enlisted. I was enlisted for 11 years. I was a aviation electronics technician, and then I became an officer, and I was an officer for the next 11 years. So basically, my career was half enlisted, half officer, and I retired in 2017. And now I work for a defense contractor. Basically, mostly I work on submarines, upgrading electronic systems, like electronic fire control systems, which are uh, guidance systems
Hmm.
for their ordnance that they would shoot at the bad guys. Also, we do other things. Like I'm about to go to Philadelphia here at some unknown time that they haven't figured out yet, to work on electronics on helicopters. So it's a pretty fun job. I do a lot of travel. I spend more nights in hotels than I do in my own bed, because I travel around the country,
Right.
which makes it weird doing the YouTube thing because most of my YouTube videos are made in hotel rooms.
Wow.
Um, and sometimes it's feast and famine because sometimes I'll be working 12-hour days, 7 days a week, and I just don't have time to make a lot of videos. But other times, like when I used to go to Hawaii a lot, and I still go to Hawaii a lot, but back when COVID started, there were these long quarantines. Like when you would first get there, you were stuck in your hotel room for 14 days. And I'd be like,
Wow.
fine. I'll just make a video every single day. And so there's a little ebb and flow to my production
Mhm.
on my channel because of, I got this thing called a real job that auditors can't figure out how to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it sounds great though. I mean, traveling must be fun but difficult at times, I'm sure. Is there anywhere in particular that you like to travel? What would be your favorite place to travel to?
Um, One place I've never been that I'm gonna go eventually is Ireland. I've never been to Ireland. I want to go to Ireland. Um, Now, one of the places that I go all the time, I think this year I've already been there 5 times, is to Hawaii. I go there a lot because Pearl Harbor's there, and they got a lot of submarines there.
Right.
Um, so I get a whole lot of hate from my subscribers, good-natured hate.
Mm-hmm.
I get a whole bunch of comments. It must be really rough, being in Hawaii and on the 15th floor overlooking the ocean.
Yep.
So I'm like, yeah, it's kind of sorry, but no,
Yeah.
I got a good job, and it's fun, and it pays the bills. So
Yeah.
yeah, I can't complain.
Well, that's awesome.
The retirement check's not bad either.
Yeah, that doesn't hurt. Is there anywhere that you don't like traveling? Is there anywhere you're like, oh man,
Oh
I have to
God,
go here
yes.
again?
Um, so there's this shipyard in Gulfport, Mississippi, and I hope they're not listening, but it is the worst shipyard in the world. Um, it's just awful, and I hate
Yeah.
to go there. The first time that I got sent, when I got back, I told my boss, I said, if you never send me there again, I'm perfectly happy with that. It's terrible, and like this time of year, it's like 10 trillion degrees outside. And, um, when you
Wow.
go out to work on, these are new construction ships, so they don't have air condition or anything. They're just a shell that you're helping to build. So yeah, that's one place I don't want to go. Nothing against Gulfport itself, because it's a nice little town, but holy hell, their shipyard needs some better management.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, that's yeah, I feel like anytime you travel a lot, there's always going to be that one place you're like, "Oh man, I hope I don't get that place again."
Right? Yeah. Nah, I've only been there twice, and both times it's like this. No.
Yeah.
Can you please send me back to Hawaii?
Absolutely. And then what would be like one of the toughest things about traveling for work, other than obviously missing, your family and that sort of thing? Is there anything that you really don't like about traveling for work?
Yeah. Well, basically the travel itself, and the it sounds fun. Like your first time going on an airplane, you're like, oh, cool, I'm going on an airplane. But once you've done it 100 times,
Hmm.
you're like, God, I got to go to the airport and go through the TSA and then wait for them to start boarding. And then you get on the plane, and then you're sitting there waiting for it to take off. And sometimes it sits on the tarmac for like an hour waiting to taxi out and actually take off. And then you land, you got to go get your bags, you got to go get your rental car, you got to drive to the hotel, check in, unpack your shit. And then by then it's like 10 o'clock at night, and you got to be up at 5. you
Wow.
know so that happens sometimes, and first world problems.
Yeah.
So I just that's probably the worst part of it. And then like I had one time, funny story, my colleague and I, we fly out to Hawaii. There's a 2 week quarantine, and then a week into it, I get a call saying, the job got turned off. We're going home tomorrow.
Wow.
And I'm like, so you flew me out to Hawaii to sit in a hotel room for a week and then fly me back to the US?
Oh,
Like,
jeez.
what the actual fuck? But, I got paid, so sitting in a hotel room and they have to pay me, and I could just sit there and make YouTube videos. Again, first world problems, but it's just the nature of working, with the government.
Yeah,
stuff doesn't always make sense.
absolutely. And just a couple more questions about your channel as well. Speaking of traveling and quarantine and that sort of thing, do you ever deal with any of like the anti-vaxxers or COVIDiots, that sort of thing on your channel?
Yes, I have done that, but you really got to be careful because I did one about this guy. He's a Canadian. He thinks he's running for mayor, but he's not because he just got sentenced to jail time. Um, and he's one of those. I did one video about him going into a grocery store and he wouldn't put on a mask, so they wouldn't serve him.
Jeez.
He wanted to buy something, so he just threw the money on the counter and walked out. And they're like, "That's not how this works."
Right.
So the owner of the store follows him out in the parking lot, and this guy punches him in the face, and then tries to citizen arrest him.
Oh, jeez.
And so when the cops show up, he tells the cops, he was like, "This guy's under arrest." And they're like, "No, you punched him in the face. You're under arrest. And plus, you shoplifted. Basically, you can't just throw money on the counter and say, 'Look,
Right.
Um, so that plus he ended up threatening a bunch of the people that work for the Ministry of Health there in Canada and all that. And so he's going to, I think he's got like 4 or 5 weekends that he has to spend in jail coming up. But one of the videos that I made about him, he said that the word that we don't talk about is fake, and I didn't edit it out because I thought he only said it one time, not a big deal.
Right.
YouTube came and put a warning on my channel. It wasn't a TOS strike.
Right.
It was just a warning, and they took that video down.
Wow.
And I challenged it, and they said, "No, we reviewed it." But they give you 2 chances to dispute it, and I did it both times. And I sent them a message, and I said, "Did an actual human being review my video?" Because they said it was medical misinformation.
Right.
And I said, "No, I was making fun of him for saying that stupid thing. My video was medical information, not misinformation." And they sent me a message back and said, "Yes, an actual human being reviewed it." And I just sent them a message back and said, "Why are you lying to me?"
Yeah.
I said, no reasonable human being could see this and say that it's medical misinformation. So yeah, I've got a lot of those type videos on my channel, but you got to edit them just right.
Right.
I've got a whole bunch of, I guess I'm sure you know what Karens are.
Yes.
I have a whole lot of anti-mask Karens getting arrested on my channel. And they're always hilarious, because just the hubris that I don't have to wear a mask because, what reasons,
Right.
and then the cop shows up and they're like, "No, I'm not putting on a mask and you're not going to trespass me from this store."
Oh, jeez.
Like it's their store. They don't want you to be here,
Yeah.
So like no shirt, no shoes, no service. Now you can also add masks to that if you want to. It's your store. You own it. If you don't want people in there, it's your store. You could say nobody with red shirts can come in.
Right.
So just these are these people that are just so entitled. Like I've always said, there are no First Amendment auditors in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
There's no
true.
Karens in Saudi Arabia. It's just these people that, they're from the US, they're from Canada, they're from Great Britain, and life has been so easy for them that they think that that's just the way that the world works. And I come from a weird position because, like we discussed, I was in the Navy for 22 years. I've been all over the world. I've seen actual, real people in abject poverty and just life situations that would make the average American or Canadian, just they would just be crying,
Yeah.
all day. because they wouldn't be able to handle it.
Yeah.
And then, you come back to the States and then you got this Karen that's calling 911 because McDonald's ran out of chicken nuggets.
Oh man.
It's really frustrating to somebody
Yeah.
like me. I'm like, what are you even doing? They're out of chicken nuggets. Deal with it. Go to KFC.
Wow.
That's probably what drives my passion for my channel is just that all these people, the auditors, the sovereign citizens, all of this is run by just entitlement that you think that you're better. Your mommy told you that you were the greatest kid ever and that you couldn't do anything wrong and you bought that bullshit.
Yeah. That makes sense. And, I've obviously seen a surge of Karen videos going around in the last year and a half.
Right.
It seems to definitely have gotten worse. But there was definitely Karen videos even before the last year and a half. Have you noticed it's gotten worse? And what was some of the Karen videos like before, all this stuff happened?
Well, I did one where well, I don't know if I covered it on my channel or if I saw somebody else did it. I've got so many videos I can't remember. I know we covered it in a live stream, but this was before the whole virus and everything. This girl, she goes through the McDonald's drive-through and they didn't have her cookies ready. Some McDonald's sell these chocolate chip cookies. And she went live on her channel and she was just throwing a fit because her cookies weren't ready when she got up to the window. And they're just trying to tell her like it's a minute and a half,
Right.
she couldn't wait a minute and a half. She had to go live and scream at them, because her cookies weren't ready.
Wow.
So yeah, that was a Karen definitely before Karens were Karens.
Yeah. Before they got that lovely name.
Right. And sorry to everybody out there who's actually named Karen. I know some lovely ladies named Karen, but
Right.
sorry you had to be collateral damage in this.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's tough. Like I said, I've watched a bunch of your videos on all the different, topics, and there's just so much to cover. I feel like, do you ever feel like you're running out of content or?
Oh God, no. Albert Einstein said the only two things that are infinite are the universe and human stupidity, and he's not sure about the universe. Um, there's such a deep well of human stupidity that I don't think I'll ever run out of content. I may have to. I think that there's a shelf life to these First Amendment auditors because, like I said, states and municipalities are coming up with laws that are eventually going to, curtail this to where they can't do it,
Right.
or people are just going to get, sick of watching them get arrested, which is eternally funny to me. I love watching these people get arrested. So, I may end up going into different areas of stupid, and there's plenty of it out there. I've dipped my toe in a couple different wells of stupid. So, but as far as making fun of stupid people, no, I'll be able to do that ad nauseum for until I keel over dead.
Yeah. Because you got like your 5G, conspiracy people
Yeah,
and
my friend MC Toon is he has that um, he has that covered. But
yeah.
that another feather in my cap. I am the only human being in the world who's ever won a debate against MC Toon.
Well,
So
that's
we
definitely something.
we debated on so I call a group of Karens, you know how a bunch of cows are called a herd and all this. I said that a group of Karens was called a complaint. And he said that a group of Karens was called a privilege, and he challenged me to a debate. So we had a debate. Of course, it was tongue in cheek, the whole thing.
Of
We made up a
course.
bunch of fake evidence. Um, I had one slide where I had a quote from Thomas Jefferson, about a group of Karens being called a complaint. But when I did the when I read the quote, I brought up a picture of George Jefferson um, from the TV show The Jeffersons, and attribute it to him, even though I said it was Thomas Jefferson, and he had equally hilarious, ridiculous quotes, but he ended up conceding and saying that I had convinced him. But if you don't know MC Toon, he's
Yeah.
a very, very skilled debater.
Yes.
And so I just said, I'm the only person that's ever won a debate against MC Toon.
Yeah, definitely. His debates are very well done. He comes with a lot of evidence. He's really good at what he does, and he's definitely got a great channel as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
Like
definitely.
when I debate, I tend to like my style of debate is like walk up and punch you in the face with a bunch of facts and figures and evidence. He's the type of debater that he sneaks up behind you and just slides the knife in between your ribs.
Yeah.
He's very polite about it, very
Yeah.
calm and cool and collected. He doesn't get mad or anything.
Yep.
He just
Absolutely.
skillfully fillets you.
Absolutely. But, it's
Yeah.
funny that that debate that you guys had about what a group of Karens are called was probably the only debate that both sides brought tons of evidence.
Yeah, we did. Even though it was fabricated.
Exactly. It
But
was still probably the most evidence brought to a debate.
right, yeah.
That's funny.
Sorry, the dogs are going crazy again.
That's all right.
An acorn must have fell out of the oak tree.
Yeah, they got to protect their yard. That's how it is. All right, awesome. Well, we've had a lot of awesome people in the chat here too tonight, so I do want to thank or today. I always forget what time of the day it is. So I do want to thank everybody for coming out and watching this as well. I have K-Rab and Mark Baggett and Miss Mandy, and we had Glober Mom and Clifford Reynolds, Renee and me, and you guys are just all awesome for coming out and supporting this. And, with that, I didn't really have too many other questions. Was there anything else that you wanted to bring up, Schrodinger, or that you wanted to mention?
If my dogs would cooperate, I can unmute. Yeah, I've got like I said, I've got a premiere that starts in a little over an hour and a half. And then tomorrow I'm going to be debating my friend FTFE, Fight the Flat Earth, on who is, well, it's a two-parter. The first hour is going to be who is dumber, flat earthers or sovereign citizens. And then the second hour is going to be who's more dangerous. And so that should be fun. I mean, it's going to be a little bit tongue in cheek, but not really, because I think there is a case to be made for both sides of that. So it's going to be a friendly debate. We're longtime friends. We're not, in there to, go to battle with each other. We're
Right.
just gonna have friendly conversation. I think there's a case to be made on both sides. Who's dumber and who's more dangerous. So that'll be fun, but also at the same time, it's going to be a thought-provoking conversation that we're going to have. So that's tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern time.
Awesome.
On my channel. And then let's see. Oh, also at the beginning of the live stream tomorrow, I'm going to be doing an unboxing of my silver play button.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
I finally, after clearing up all the false copyright strikes and everything, because guess what? You can get 100,000 subscribers, but if you've got a copyright strike that's still active on your channel, you can't apply for your play button.
Oh, wow.
So I went to YouTube and I was like, what I've got 100,000 subscribers. Where's my play button?
Yeah.
And they're like, you got these copyright strikes. So I had to wait for all those to get adjudicated.
Oh,
Of course,
geez.
each and every one of them was adjudicated in my favor.
Of course.
And then I finally got my play button. It came in the other day. So I'm going to be unboxing that tomorrow night at the beginning of our stream, along with some gifts that subscribers have sent me. So that'll be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to see my my play button.
That's awesome. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. I'll definitely be checking that out. I do have to work tomorrow, so I'll watch it quietly while I'm working. But yeah, that's awesome. And then I did the only other thing I did notice was I know you had some legal threats from a Sovsit. Was that
Oh
all to do
yeah.
with those copyrights?
Yeah, I could talk about that for a minute. So there's this I guess he's sort of like a auditor, sovereign citizen. Like I said, it's on a spectrum, and he's sort of like dead center. He fancies himself a legal genius. Um, if you get arrested, he will take your case for a mere $2,500.
Jeez.
In spite of having no legal training and, as far as we can tell, no legal knowledge. Um, he filed suit against me and then sent me the complaint. And so we had a live stream, me and my lawyer friends, and we had a great time reading through these 50 pages of nonsense.
Oh wow.
And just roaring in laughter at he thinks that mean comments that are on my channel from my subscribers are um, somehow make a case for him to sue me for defamation.
Oh jeez.
That's not how that works.
Yeah.
Um, he he said that he was going to come to my house and serve me. That's not how service works.
Right. Oh,
You
man.
can't serve somebody with your lawsuit. In Virginia, you go through the sheriff's department or you hire a process server.
Right.
Um, so he sent me this form that was called a waiver of service, where he wanted me to waive service and we just go to court. I said, why should I do this? So my lawyer friends, they said, well, none of us practice in Virginia. Just go talk to your lawyer just to be safe.
Right.
So I went and talked to my lawyer. He read through the complaint, had a really good giggle. And I said he wanted me to do this waiver of service. And I showed him the paperwork, and he's like, waiver of service is not a thing. And I said, well, what do I do? And he was like, do nothing.
Hmm.
He was like, don't even respond. He was
Yeah.
like, just go home. And I mean, I already basically knew the answer before I got there.
Right.
Um, but and at the same time, this guy's on his channel saying he's going to have to hire a lawyer and pay $20,000. And my lawyer wouldn't even take my money. He was like, you don't owe me anything. He was
Yeah.
like, I said, I said, I can afford to retain you. It's not a big, that's not a thing.
Hmm.
And he was like, you don't need to retain me. He was like, there's nothing here. He was like, if you actually get served with this lawsuit, he was like, call me back. Otherwise, go home and forget this. And so this legal genius that thinks that he's suing me, first of all, my lawyer and all my lawyer friends said this will never pass the very first hurdle in court. It'll just get dismissed outright because there's
Right.
nothing there. You can't sue me because my subscribers are mean to you. Um,
Yeah, that's
so
not how
yeah,
this works.
yeah. So that was a lot of fun. So hopefully he does serve me, and we get a couple more good live streams out of it, because I've been begging one of these people to sue me. They all
Hmm.
um, News Now Houston said he was suing me, and he never did. News Now Patrick said he was suing me, and he never did. There's been two or three others, and I tell them, I'm like, please sue me. Let's see who can afford a better lawyer.
Right.
Because the more that they do this, the more live streams I get out of it.
Hmm.
The more fun that I get to have. I get to get Artie and Natalie Lawyer Chick and OPT Lawyer on a stream, and we get to have a good laugh with all the people in the chat.
Yeah.
It's hilarious to me. And let's be honest, none of them are ever going to successfully sue me.
Right.
So I've been begging them to sue me. So hopefully he actually serves me with legal papers. I would love to go to court and then be able to get the transcript of the proceedings in the court where the judge is up there reading the complaint and laughing his ass off, and then dismisses it outright.
That would be
So
awesome.
yeah.
Well, I'll definitely be on the lookout for that and see if you ever get served from this lovely person.
Oh, you'll know because we'll be having a live stream about it.
Awesome. Well, I'll be looking out for it for sure. But yeah, I do want to thank you for coming out today, Schrodinger, and
Yes,
doing this
ma'am.
interview with me. I appreciate that. Been meaning to reach out for a while, and just every time I would think about it, I got busy.
Oh yeah, I know the feeling.
But
You're like, oh yeah, that's the thing I've been meaning to do.
yep,
Yeah.
that's my
Well,
life
you nailed it.
anymore.
You said an hour, and
Yeah,
it
just
just clicked
about.
an hour. So
Awesome.
good
Well,
time management, even though I'm so long-winded.
that's all right. I do my best. But I'm glad we were able to get this done and, talk to you and learn a little bit more about you and what it is that you do on your channel. And I appreciate you. And I appreciate all of your viewers coming out and supporting me as well for this interview. So thank you to everybody in the live chat. And, with that, if you don't have anything else, then I think we'll wrap it up here.
No, just everybody show up in an hour and a half, and thank you, Cy Strikelink, for having me on. Always happy to help, and hopefully you get a bunch of subscribers out of this and a bunch of views. And yeah, I think that's about it. Thank you, ma'am.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody else. And I'm Cy Strickling, and I'll see y'all in the next one.